All right, welcome back. And now we're going to talk about how to grow your brand. Now that you've established it, or at least got started, okay? And understand the brand is going to be a work in progress. You're going to develop your styles. You're going to develop your, the things that you're going to be known for. That's going to happen over time as you start to really step into this. But at least you've identified your interests, okay? Your passions, things that you care about, the things that you strongly disagree with. Those things have kind of created this brand now, right? Whether it's hobbies, interests, whatever it happens to be, passions that you can use to now start attracting people into your world, attracting people to become one of the 3 F's that we talk about: a friend, a fan, or a follower. Okay, so if they follow you, or they're a big fan of yours, or they're one of your friends, we want to start building that. And again, we're still dealing with the personal side of social media. And my strong suggestion is you start in Facebook. That's where most of the people are. The platform lends itself to what we do as more than most of the other platforms. I believe all of the other platforms at this moment. So I want you to be able to, on your personal page now, develop your brand and develop some influence, okay? We'll expand on that on business pages and fan pages and stuff like that in future modules. But first part of this is, now that you've established, hopefully, or you're in process of establishing and creating your brand, is to build a base. Okay, if we're going to grow your brand, we need to build a base. And what I mean by that is we need to start to populate your page with posts and information, content that is in alignment with your newly thought about brand. What are the things that you can put into your page that's going to start attracting people that align with your values, people that align with your interests, people that align with your passions, okay? So let me talk about all the different things that you can do inside. And I'll share, some of my stories, some of what I've done, and I'm going to give you some of the best. What I'm going to share right now is best practices of the 77 people that we interviewed on this in alignment with the brand. So I'm going to give you all the categories, and we're going to talk about frequency, and we're going to talk about how often, how you should vary these different types of posts. But let me walk through all of them. First is just a written post. It could be a comment, it could be an idea, it could be an observation, but a written post that's in alignment with your brand. Now, it doesn't necessarily need to be an article. That's a different category. I'm just talking about a post. Here's a comment. Here's the thing. I love, if it's about gardening, you could just, I just love anybody who likes chrysanthemums or is a friend of mine, or whatever you want to do. You know what I mean? Some comment, some observation, something that is in alignment with your brand, something that you're talking, that is important to you. So written post is first. Now, none of these are in any order. I'm just giving you all of them. Second is photos. People love photos. Photos is a social media thing. Any photo that you can have that is in alignment with your passion, if you have it, put it up. If you don't have it, find it. Go search around until you find photos that are in alignment with you, alignment with your brand, okay? And put those photos up. If it's photos of you in the environment that is a reflection of your brand, then put those photos up. If you're all about cars, then you need to be putting up a lot of photos of cars. Maybe you with the cars. Maybe you at a car show. See what I mean? Lots of photos that are in alignment with your passion. The next part of photos is what I call infographics. And this is either a graphic or a photo with a quote on it. And people love these. These are very shareable. And shareability is very, very important in what it is that you do if you want to expand your reach. It could be your own quote. You could quote yourself. Here's what here's in your particular belief, your quote, and have yourself. Or you can quote another thought leader within your brand. If it's all about cooking, you can quote a famous chef. Okay, you could quote somebody, somebody historical that is recognized inside of your particular niche, okay? So I do that a lot. I mean, whether it's, I'll tag on to celebrities from time to time. Like if there's a Will Smith quote that I love, there's a quote that he has that says, if you're not part of my journey, you don't get to be part of my success, or something along those lines. And it's a strong photo of Will Smith with that quote on top. And you take that and you put that in there, and that's part of the personal development aspect of things that's part of my brand. Now, if you have a celebrity type that has a quote that is in alignment with your brand, use it. Find a photo, put a graphic on top of it. It's very simple to do. Put the quote on top of it. Give them credit for the quote. Don't take credit for somebody else's quote. And you can tag that celebrity because you are helping to tell their story and share their quotes with the world. Now, see what happens when you tag a celebrity or tag somebody that you're quoting, whether it's Richard Branson or Robert Kiyosaki or Tony Robbins or any public figure, that when you tag them, all of a sudden their fans start to see your stuff. Now, if a person is not connected, they're not in your photo, or they're not connected with the post at all, and you start tagging those people, number one, you're going to get in trouble with the platform. Number two, it's just really bad form. It's just going to offend everybody if you go do that. If it's appropriate, tag them. If it's not appropriate, don't tag them, okay? But I do that quite a bit. There's a famous meme, an internet meme with Robert Downey Jr. just doing this. He's rolling his eyes. And the quote is, that face you make when somebody says network marketing is a pyramid, right? So that's what I use. So you could use that face you make when somebody doesn't understand the power of flowers, or that face you make when somebody, doesn't know how cool fast cars are, or whatever you want to create, and you got a quote with a celebrity to be able to do that. These things, the key to starting to build this base is shareability. If people get something that's cool that they can share with their friends, that their followers, whatever, their community, one of the biggest things you want to make sure is you have something that's shareable. Is it in alignment with people who are interested in the same thing you're interested in? If it's about women power, you could have some strong woman or some strong woman quote. Every day, if you built a brand on woman power, you could have a different celebrity woman with a powerful woman quote every single day, couldn't you? That wouldn't be hard to do. Find a great quote from a powerful woman, women political leaders, women celebrities, women business leaders, whatever it happens to be. And all of a sudden, that's going to start getting shareable because everybody's going to go, yeah, dang right. I'm going to share this with my people because, I'm powerful too, right? So you start thinking about ways to build a base. And what I mean by building a base is when people come to your page, I want them to see more than just one or two posts. I want them to see that you have some substance in there, that you've started to establish a foundation of your brand. And this is what all the people we interviewed told us about, is to make sure it's in alignment and make sure you get enough quantity of actual stuff that's in alignment. Not stuff where you're talking about your network marketing business yet, okay? We're not even talking about that. We'll get to that. I'm just talking about building your brand now and building a base on that brand, okay? So, written posts, photos, infographics. I love infographics. If you go see Network Marketing Pros fan page, you're going to see tons of infographics. Every day, there's different infographics that go up there. Video on your platform, on your Facebook page, video. Go search and find YouTube videos that are in alignment with your brand, that don't distract, that are in alignment, that complement your brand, and share those YouTube videos on your Facebook page. And those people will start to share, and those people will start to share. You can put your comments on it too. Hey, I totally agree with this. Hey, check this out. For people who are fans of this, hey, you might want to check this out. You can go find those. They're very easy to find. Go find them and share them. Put a little commentary on them, and you become you're becoming a curator of content around a particular theme. Like I'm a curator of content around network marketing. You could become a curator of content around gardening. You could become a curator of content around having amazing relationships with your significant other. You can become a curator of whatever it is you want, but you go out there into the world with a few clicks of, keystrokes, you can find great content that you can share that's inspirational, that's powerful, that's validating, that does all the stuff that you want to do for your brand. So go find some YouTube videos and on a regular basis, post something in there that would be valuable and would be interesting, okay? Now, in addition to that, Facebook Live is a really cool, relatively recent development where you could take your phone and you can go live to your community on your Facebook page and you could just talk about whatever it is that you want to talk about. So let's say you have an idea about whatever your passion, you just got a tip, a suggestion, an idea. You can turn the camera on, or let's say you're a car enthusiast and you're at a car show and they're auctioning off cars. Would that be a good opportunity to turn on a Facebook Live and say, let me show you some cool cars? And, check this one out, check this one out, check this one out, check this one out. And people not only can watch that live and interact live, but if you make it relatively interesting, it's shareable. People can watch it later. That video resides inside of Facebook, and that's a major priority for Facebook in order to be able to promote video, so they're going to make sure as many people see that as possible. You never know. If you just stumble across something, all of a sudden that turns into something that could turn viral. If it does, all of a sudden you've got all the friends, followers, and fans that you could imagine. So Facebook Live is an incredible resource for you to be able to share ideas. Give you some strategies for this, all right? I want you to understand the tools that are at your disposal. It's awesome, the tools that are at your disposal to build a brand. And you're here to build one, right? The tools that are at your disposal. Imagine you happen to have lunch with somebody who also shares your brand values, whatever it is, shares your interests, your passions. You can turn on a Facebook Live and you can do just an instant interview with that person and ask them 3 questions, right? Question number 1, tell me this about our passion. What do you like best about? Question number 2, question number 3. And if people now their whole audience will see this because you're going to tag them on that. Their whole audience is going to see it, everybody that's connected with them. Plus all the people who are interested in this particular idea might get shared into those communities. So Facebook Live is an incredible tool. It's in your pocket. It's ready to go. So it starts to brand you as a thought leader. That's the ultimate goal here, is to brand you as a thought leader inside of the sewing genre. You as a thought leader inside of the motorcycle genre, whatever it happens to be, whatever niche you want to participate in. What the goal is, a year from today, 2 years from today, you're thought of as a thought leader inside of that space. People look to you to see what you think about the latest and greatest, things that are happening inside of that particular passion, okay? So YouTube videos and Facebook Live, very, very important. People love video. They love short video. They love interesting video. The only rule to that is make sure that you're interesting. Make sure that it's something that's going to be fun. Be transparent. Have fun with it. You could do audio too. You could do a recording of some interview you did with a person, record a phone call and put an audio up there. Say, hey, here's an audio for you to listen to of a quick interview I did with so-and-so. You can go find podcasts that are in alignment with your brand and put those podcasts on there. Do you see where this is going? You're a curator of content. You're going to give your perspective. You're going to have celebrity perspective. You're going to have photos. You're going to have videos that are put out by other people. You're going to create videos. There's audio podcasts that are out there that you can share. And you have all of this curated inside of this platform. So anybody who's really passionate, imagine you're doing this on flowers. Okay, let's just say flowers. And you have written posts, photos, infographics, video, your own video, audio, right? Interviews, all this stuff is in there. And somebody who just loves flowers, it's their thing. They find your page somehow. Do you think they're going to share it with the people that they know that love flowers? Of course they are. And when they share it, now you have a new fan, a new follower, a new potential friend, a new person that you could have a conversation with over time. We're talking about building your influence, building a base. So could you interview all of the thought leaders in your particular brand, in your particular passion? Could you interview them all? Of course you could. That's what I decided to do. I've interviewed so many people, it's unbelievable. Just ask them for their secrets of success. And if you reach out to somebody who's a great flower person or a great car person or a great collector of whatever your passion is, or a super powerful woman, and you reach out to them and say, can I interview you? And you can interview them on Skype, you can interview them face-to-face, you can interview them with your phone, you can interview them on Facebook Live, you could do a Zoom call, you could do a million different things you can do, but now you have an opportunity to bring value to your community and at the same time tap into their community, okay? So interviews are big. So another thing is articles. Can you find articles, magazine articles, online articles that are in alignment with what you do? Again, you're a curator. Now, rants. Rants are something that get attention. Occasionally, something will bother me, and I'll go on a rant. And I'll just, if somebody is negative to my community, if somebody is uneducated and judgmental of people involved in my community, what I'm known for in my brand, I'll come out and I'll fight. Now I do it respectfully, but I'll go on a rant. People love rants, whether it's a Facebook Live rant or a recorded video rant or whatever it is you want to do, they love it. They absolutely love it. So rants are great. Humor, if you can have some fun with those infographics, you can have some fun with your posts, you can have some fun. People love, again, shareability is important. So people love to be able to share these things. One of the big things that we got from our interviewees was questions. One of the most important things you can do with your community to build interactivity, to build interconnection, okay, to get engagement up, is to ask them questions. They say, hey, I have this problem with this particular thing inside of your passion. Who has some suggestions? What are strategies you use to get past this? And everybody comes forward with their idea, their tip, their strategy. I do this, I do that, try that. If somebody says, hey, I've got this, again, I'm picking on flowers, but somebody says, hey, I have this particular flower, what's the best fertilizer to use? Everybody's going, I use this, I used eggshells, I used try this and try this brand. And everybody's gonna jump in there and create community and conversation. So anytime you can ask a question about what it is that you're passionate about, you're gonna get people to engage in that. Along that same line is like surveys. What do you can ask a person to pick a multiple choice answer to a question, A, B, or C, and that gives people another chance to kind of engage. You can put up a photo and say, caption this, right? You can have contests, all different kinds of things that you can do, but understand this whole dynamic, right? You're inside of a passion. You're inside of, you are representing your brand. Your objective is to now curate content. Some of it's from you, some of it's from others, some of it you find other places on the internet. Sometimes you're gonna find other pages that are like-minded or other people who represent the brand that you represent, and you can start to share their posts onto your page, right? Bring their things, give them credit, bring that into your community. But here's the bottom line with all this. Bring value. Bring value. That people aren't wasting their time, that there's actually a purpose for this, that they're coming to your page to get something, whether it's an idea, whether it's to have a laugh, whether it's to learn something, whether it's to connect with other like-minded people, but value. That's the name of the game in building a base, is that there's value there. That when people go look at your photos, they see value. When they look at your posts, they see value. When they look at the articles you put, they see value, all right? But for now, let me give you some success keys that are gonna be important as you grow your brand, okay? In building a base here. Key number 1, consistency. You can't just throw out a couple posts, and if you don't get a bunch of likes, you get your feelings hurt and you decide to go do something else. You can't put up a post and come back 2 weeks later and put up another post. You just can't. You have to decide that you're going to be consistent. You have to decide that this is now part of your life. You have to decide, if you want to have success in social media, you have to decide that you're going to be consistent daily. Daily. That means all those things I talked about, written posts and photos and infographics and videos and audio and interviews and all that stuff, every day something down that road has to go up onto your page. Every day. If you're not willing to be consistent, just stay where you are and do what you want to do, but you're not going to build a brand on social media if you're not willing to be consistent. You have to be consistent. The second part of that is patience. It's not going to happen right away. You got to build a base and you got to attract some people. You got to put some content in there. You got to be consistent with that content until people start to build rapport with you. Once they do that, then they'll start to share. If they see one post, they're not going to say, hey, go follow this person. They're not going to go tell their friends, oh, you got to follow this person because they're amazing if they see one post. They got to see some substance first. It's going to take some time. The best thing I ever did in building a brand with Network Marketing Pro, best thing I ever did is for a full year. I started March 11th, 2009. And for a full year, all I did was bring value, nothing but value. I had videos 5 days, I had probably 200 videos that year for free. I had posts all over the place. I put up articles, I had quotes, and I was patient. They say dig your well before you're thirsty. I dug my well and then I still didn't drink from it. I didn't say, oh, now come buy something. Now come check out one of my events. Now buy one of my products. I didn't say any of that stuff. All I did was build rapport with that audience for a full year before I did my first little product. And it was just a little one-day training event that I turned into an audio CD series, okay, which we don't even have CDs anymore. You do, but nobody has any place to play them in. But a little audio CD series, called GoPro, right? I put out that audio CD series in another full year before we did our first GoPro Recruiting Mastery event. And we only had 200 people at that first event. But we started at 200 and we were patient and we were consistent and we stayed in alignment with the brand. And I made many brand mistakes. I'm going to talk to you about that in the do's and don'ts. I made lots of brand mistakes over the course of the 7 years, but I think my sincerity and my authenticity made up for the mistakes that I made in going outside of the brand and just losing my way for a minute. And I went, oh, okay, wait a minute. What's my core principles? Go back to that. So success keys that we learned from all these people around the world is consistency, number 1. Number 2, patience. Number 3, the ability to adapt. Just understand that it's going to change all the time. The landscape's going to change all the time. The rules are going to change all the time. What gets rewarded is going to change all the time. When I first started with Facebook, I created a personal page and I raced as fast as I could to get to 5,000 friends. Now, I was friending up everybody all over the place. People I didn't even know, but people were in, kind of like mind. And I'm going to warn you against that in the next module. But I did that. And then I started, they didn't have fan pages back then. They had what they called pages. And there was a page that was, the theme was Network Marketing Pro. I didn't have a website. So I started this page and I started putting up articles on this page. I started putting up, how to think like an entrepreneur, all different kinds of articles on this page. And I built up, and the pages had a max of 5,000. Okay, you can only have 5,000 on that. So I filled up one, and then I started the second one, and I built up that, and then they launched fan pages. Okay, so I go over to fan pages, and I migrate all of my people over the course of, as many that would move over the course of 3 to 6 months, I moved them over there. And then at the beginning, everybody saw all my posts. And then pretty soon, Facebook wasn't letting everybody see the posts. So you had to be more engaging. You had to get more people liking and commenting and sharing in order to be able to see the post. Oh, okay. So you got to do that. And then all of a sudden, Facebook loves photos. Oh, okay. Then let's go into more photos and infographics. And then all of a sudden, it's about video. Oh, okay. You got to adapt. You've got to move with what's working. You got to see where you're getting response, what people are sharing and what they're not, what people are seeing and what they're not, what they're liking and commenting on and what they're not. See that? Today, this moment, Facebook Live is the biggest thing out there. If I do a Facebook Live within a couple days, it's over 100,000 people have seen any typical Facebook Live that I do. It's different that's different than a photo. That's different than an article. Who knows what the algorithms are, but just understand, entrepreneurs adapt. You have to have the ability to adapt. So consistency, patience, and the ability to adapt, okay? Next is, part of adapting is to stay within the platform guidelines. This is the big one that everybody told us, make sure you stay within whatever the platform is, they have guidelines. And if you abuse those, you're going to get slapped by the platform itself. Like, for example, if you start liking too many things, like this, you like too many things, the computers and the servers inside of Facebook are going to think that you're a robot, because there's a bunch of robots out there that are just liking things, that are out there trying to spam people. So they like everything. And if you start liking too many things, they'll think that you're a robot and they'll shut you down. Or if you try to friend up too many people in a day, if you try to friend, for example, right now, this moment, if you try to friend more than 10 people a day consistently, they're going to shut you down, for 10 days. And then they'll open it back up again. And if you go right back to it, you try to friend 100 people a day, then they're going to shut you down for 20 days and then 30 days. And then it just keeps going until they just shut you down and don't let you back in. They don't want you engaging in what looks like predatory behavior. So just understand, whatever the guidelines are, learn from it, adapt from it, learn from other people, what's happening with them. And I'm going to give you the do's and don'ts. So don't worry about that. That's coming next, the do's and don'ts. But just make sure that you're staying within the platform guidelines. Next success key is authenticity. Just be you. I can have big produced videos, even what I'm doing here. You know what? We turn the cameras on, we put some graphics up over here, but this is just me and you talking, okay? I don't do a million takes. I'm not doing this over and over. It's not fancy editing. What I've learned is, if I can just make a connection with you, and I'm raw and honest with you, if I'm having a great day, if I'm having a rough day, not that you're a complainer, but that you're authentic, that you're real, that you really do represent your brand, that you really are passionate, because people are going to smell the fact, if you're just trying to take advantage of something, you picked a topic and you're not really passionate about it. Number one, you're not going to keep doing it because you're going to get bored with it super, super fast. But number two, people are going to kind of tell, you don't really care about that group. You don't really care about that brand. Authenticity is so critical. And transparency. The fact, one of the things that worked for me is I'm learning as I'm going, and I tell everybody. Currently I do 2 videos a week. I do a network marketing training video a week, and then I do a top earner interview a week, okay? That's what we do. So we do 104 shows a year. Consistent, set your watch on it. It's consistent. But prior, I would just turn I had a flip cam before the phones got really good. I had a flip cam, I'd turn on the flip cam and I would talk about whatever idea, and then I'd edit it myself and I'd post it up onto our webpage, and I'd put the links up to different places. I'd send out an email so people could see it, okay? That's what I would do. And I'll never forget, one of the most popular videos I ever did, I had just finished doing an all day of meetings. I was sitting in my hotel room. I did an all day of meetings, and I said, oh, I got to do a show. So I put the tripod, I put the camera on the tripod, and I turned the record button on, and I went in front of it, and I just went, I looked at the camera, I had nothing. I literally, my mind had nothing in it. It was just mush after a full day. And I just looked at the camera for like 15 seconds, and I went, I got nothing. See ya. And I went around and I turned it off. And I said, you know what? I'm going to post that. And I put that video up and I said, today I had nothing. And everybody just thought it was the greatest thing. They'd say, oh my gosh, you're a human being. La, 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 la. This is really funny. Another one that I did that was kind of an example of transparency. I was in the middle of a worldwide trip. I had gone from Russia to Europe, from Europe to New York, from New York to Los Angeles, and I was going from Los Angeles to Australia, okay? And I missed my flight in Los Angeles, and I'd already been traveling like 30 hours. And I've got the stubble on my face, and I've got circles under my eyes, and I'm in my hotel room in the airport, and I decided I'm gonna do a show. So I turned the camera on and I said, some days it's work. Here's where I've been. Here's what's going on. Some days as an entrepreneur, it's not glamorous. Some days it's pain. Some days it's struggle. Now you got to make sure that you don't go all the way from transparency into complaining, into being a whiner, into being a blamer. You don't want that. You just want to be real. So I was just saying, you know what? Some days it's work. By the time I get to Australia, I'm sure I'm going to be fine. But right now, this is not fun, And I would encourage the entrepreneurs. Hey, some days you're going to have days that are like this, that are tough. When it's lonely, there's nobody hanging around. I mean, it's not exciting. It's not fun. It's just pure work, but it's still worth it. Okay. So everybody, I'll see you later. I'm going to try and get some sleep, and I got to catch my flight tomorrow night now instead of tonight. And I hope the people in Australia don't freak out by the time I get there. So then I did a follow-up video of 2 days later from Australia. Hey, thanks for putting up with me 2 nights ago. That was tough sitting in that hotel room. But look at this crowd and look at what's going on in Australia. And we got growth and we got excitement. And here's the bridge. And look at the Opera House in Sydney here. This is amazing. Everybody have a great day, right? So the transparency is important, that you're real. It's not just canned. It's not just super highly produced. People trust and they have a natural connection to some raw stuff. So sometimes we'll have raw video instead of highly produced stuff, because I want you to know that I'm here to help you get a result. I'm here because I represent the brand, and I want you to do the same thing. So be authentic, be transparent, keep it positive, but be a real fellow traveler inside of your brand. So success keys: consistency, patience, the ability to adapt, stay within the platform guidelines, be authentic, be transparent, and keep it positive. The goal with this entire exercise, the goal in building a base inside of your brand, is that you become a global thought leader. That you become a recognized person in your brand. You become a voice representing other people who have similar passions to you. That's the goal. So that's a lot of information about building your base. Now let's talk about expanding your base. How do you now that you've got some substance into your page, now that you've built a little bit of weight, a little bit of credibility, how do you now expand and find a way to attract people who are like-minded, people who are passionate about the same things you're passionate about? First thing you do, number one strategy, is seek out the other thought leaders in your brand. Who are the people who have communities already talking about these subjects, the subjects that you're passionate about? Who are the other thought leaders? Like their pages, follow their stuff. And in that process, build a connection with them. Send them a private message and say, hey, I'm passionate about the same things you're passionate about. Maybe we can connect sometime. Maybe we can friend each other up. In the meantime, thanks for putting out the incredible value. What you want to do is compliment them, connect with them and compliment them. And at some point, plant the seed. Now, this is scary for some of you, but just don't be scared. Just start down this process and think about this. If I was you, here's what I would do with every thought leader inside of your brand. Reach out to them, connect with them, compliment them, and ask them if you can interview them. Ask them if you can do a quick, whether it's a Skype interview, a face-to-face interview, a Zoom interview, however you want to capture it, that you interview them and just say, I just want to ask you 3 questions. Or I just want you to, tell your story of how you developed all this success. Give me, your keys to success, how you made it all happen. So connect, compliment, and interview the thought leaders in your space. Now, they might not respond right away. They might not say yes right away. But if you're persistent, you'll get the interview. I mean, I've interviewed the most amazing people on earth. Richard Branson, Tony Robbins, Robert Kiyosaki. Inside of my world, big names, Bob Proctor, Brian Tracy, Jack Canfield, Les Brown, Paul Zane Pilzer, you name it. Incredible thought leaders inside of my world. I've interviewed all the $1 million, or not all of them, but all of the top leader interviews that I could find. And we continue to do that on a weekly basis. So is that important? Does that add value? Does that build connection? Does that build community? Of course it does. So find the other thought leaders in your particular brand, connect, compliment, and interview if possible. Now, if you can't interview them, start sharing some of their posts inside of your community. If they have posts that provide value to your world, and they should, if they're a thought leader in your brand, then start to share some of those posts inside of your community. And they'll start to notice the shares, and they'll start to notice the connection. They'll start to notice the consistency. Believe me, I know the people who are consistently sharing my stuff. I know it. And we have a different connection. And if they do that long enough, if they ask me for an interview, the chances are really, really good. So other thought leaders is one area of expanding base. Another one is other pages. There might be other pages that are they might not be a thought leader connected, but it just might be the theme of that page. What's the content on those pages that you can share? What's the content that you can find? And this can be on all kinds of platforms. It doesn't just need to be on Facebook. It can be on Instagram. It can be on YouTube. It can be all different places. The ability to share other content from other pages. So you have other thought leaders and you have other pages. Third is like-minded friends. Who can you find? And just search. All you have to do is take your brand and search it. And you'll find people who are passionate about that. Take whatever it is, put it into the search bar and search it. And you're going to find people who are passionate about that subject. And when you do, connect, compliment. Connect and compliment. And from that, the chances of friending those people up and building a broader community of like-minded people are excellent. The key to expanding your base is bringing value, not only to your community, but bring value to those other thought leaders. Bring value to those other pages. Come in and say, hey, great job. Excellent post. Fantastic insight. Thank you for that. Bring value to them. Thank them in a private message. Hey, I just want you to know, I appreciate the effort of you contributing to our community. Thanks for doing that. Bring value emotionally, bring value through your posts, bring value to your own community, bring value to their communities. Let's say they post on some topic and you have something else, a video or something that might bring extra interest to that. You post that video into their feed to be able to provide some extra value, not to sell anything, not to recruit anybody, just to bring extra value. The key is bringing value to your community and to theirs, to connect and to complement and to friend them up, okay? So through all of this, my experience is if you just start with the process of bringing value to the world within your brand, bring value to your community that you have right now, bring value to other communities that are like-minded, bring value to other thought leaders, bring value to your community in every way you possibly can, it's going to come back to you. Anybody who brings value is going to get recognized. Anybody who brings value is going to get followed. Anybody who brings value is going to get, is going to start to attract fans. This is the common theme from these 77 success stories that we interviewed in building the base and expanding the base. Okay? Curate content within your brand. Be consistent. Be patient. Be authentic. And bring value. If you bring value, you're good. If you don't bring value and you're always just asking, or it's boring, or it's not consistent with the brand, or whatever, then nobody's going to follow. If you bring great value and you have the whole world with a few keystrokes to do it, you're going to get all the followers you can imagine. Okay? So that is, you're really starting to expand your brand, to build the base, to expand the base. So I'll see you on the other side.